to the Halloween Minstrels and Bards. Yo! Or woo! Woo! This Minstrels and Bards soirée is situated on Indigenous land and dished with one spoon territory. This is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, the Wendat, and the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. Minstrels and Bards gratefully acknowledges these Indigenous nations for their guardianship of the land. And we're going to begin with Jeff Cottrill. Jeff Cottrill. And I've known Jeff probably 10 years, do you think?
Oh, more than that, I think.
Yeah, and he's done lots of open mic for me. Have you ever featured before?
I think at least once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love his stuff. It's humorous. He's a super smart guy. He knows literature. He's got some really great performance pieces. Really, you're a performance poet. Yeah. Jeff Cottrill is a novelist, performance poet. There you go. Like I was so original, you know. And journalist who has toured through North America, Europe, and Australia. His debut novel, Hate Story, which I have, but I haven't started yet. Good thing I'm wearing a mask.
I believe you.
Was launched last year, and he was nominated for a Pushcart Prize in 2021. And his website is jeffcottrill.com. Welcome, Jeff.
Thank you. I hope you like my costume. Okay. I'll start with this one. This is just something I wrote for a workshop, and I was given the prompt, "The Monster in My Dreams." And so I came up with this. The monster in my dreams is the most boring monster I have ever seen. He doesn't attack anybody or breathe fire or anything. He's about as tall as I am, but he's gray and stupid looking, with bare ears and a club foot. He keeps showing up in my dreams, doing the most boring things. Once he was picking up an unemployment check. Another time, he was sitting at a table playing solitaire. What a stupid, boring monster. At least show me some fangs or say a bad word, or else just go away. He's like that boring ghost my sister and I saw at Grandma's house last year. What a useless ghost. He just stood there staring at the wall as if he were trying to remember something. He was wearing this bland 19th century suit and a monocle, but he didn't seem to have any real class. My sister yelled at the ghost. "Come on, ghost," she said. "Try to scare us at least. Say boo. Fly over our heads. Shriek curses. Do something, ghost." But the stupid, boring ghost didn't even move. "What a useless ghost," my sister said. "I know," I replied. Then I tried yelling at the ghost. "Hey, ghost," I said, "your mother wears army boots and your father picks his nose." The ghost kind of turned his head and looked at us. He seemed confused. "Do you know where I can find a bingo hall?" the ghost said in a sad monotone. "Bingo?" I said. "Of course not. Bingo is boring." "In that case," the ghost said, "do you have a wool sweater I could borrow? I would like to impress my pet hamster." My sister and I looked at each other. Then we both laughed. "That is the worst ghost in the world," my sister said. "Not scary at all." "Go away, you boring ghost," I said. "You suck." The ghost looked at the floor in confusion for a moment, then just walked up the stairs. "He didn't even think to go through the wall," my sister whined. "What a dipshit ghost." So that was my scary ghost story. And this one, a little more polished. This was published in the Confessions anthology in Leeds in the UK. And if I can remember what page it's on. What page is it on? I should have prepared. No, that's not it. Maybe I should check the contents. Which is like cheating, but 19. Okay, so this is called Murder Your Darlings. Murder your darlings. This is the advice that many writing teachers give you. It's an old standard if you like the scene, it's an old standard if you like the scene, or the line, or the paragraph, but removing it would improve the whole, then cut it. No matter how good it is, Cut it! Murder your darlings. The best editing advice you can get. I always murder my darlings. That's how dedicated I am. I love my darlings. I love them with the intensity of a devoted parent, with the passion of a young newlywed. I hate to murder them, but murder them I must for the good of the whole. The first time is always the hardest. You struggle with the raging guilt and the pounding heartbreak. You say, what a lovely darling this is. How could I bring myself to destroy such a beautiful thing? What madness is this? Dear God in heaven, what am I doing? But you know the job must be done. And you do it, but hesitantly, carelessly, sloppily. And then the time comes once again, and you dread it. You dread it as you do the euthanasia of an adorable puppy dog stricken with the plague. But it's easier the second time. And it gets even easier after that. And you get into the practice, into the habit, and you even look forward to the rush it brings. It becomes an inexplicable urge, an unquenchable addiction to murder your darlings. In writing, I mean. Over the years, I've developed a special routine, all my own, of murdering my darlings. I don't like to get it over with quickly. Sure, they say, your darlings are just as dead after you do it the fast way as they are after the labored way. But the fast way doesn't suit me. It's too simple, too impersonal. Murdering your darlings should be an art form. It should be something planned, thought through, and greedily relished. See, I don't murder my darlings right away. I like to torture them first. I lean over and I whisper with the delicacy of a sensitive lover, darling, forgive me, but you've been naughty, and now the time has come to punish you for it. What shall it be, darling? Would you care to taste the sting of jagged steel slowly sawing through your flesh, or the smell the burning of your skin as I apply red-hot irons? Or what about the slow, wrenching pain that poison brings as it plays havoc with your insides? Tell me, and I shall deliver it like the angel of agony. From there, nothing can keep me from my mission. Not the guilt, not the screams, not the begging, not even the bargaining. And as they suffer, I laugh and regret nothing. I extinguish the last of their hope that I may reconsider, that I may turn back as I make my final preparations to murder my darlings. In writing, this is all an extended metaphor, of course. Before I commit the deed, I take one last look into their eyes, and as they whimper, as they moan, as they beg me to spare them, I say, shh, darling, the time has come. Do you believe in God? Do you believe in heaven or hell or just eternal limbo? Wherever you believe you're going, it's time to prepare. Time to pack your bags and drop the kids off with your neighbors. Time to check in your luggage and get your passport scanned and obtain the boarding pass. Time to walk through the metal detector. Time to sit in the gate lounge, kill time by reading a book, maybe browse the magazine shop for a while, buy a glass of wine at the bar, maybe two, use the restroom one last time. Where was I going with this? And where are you all going? Come back here. I've not finished my seminar. I still have yet to discuss the best choice of weapons and what mop to use to clean up the... Oh, great, here come the security fellows, as always. Why? Tell me, why do I always get banned from these literary festivals? Damn millennial snowflakes, always getting triggered by the slightest. Well, at least I still have my darlings. And when I get home tonight, my darlings will pay twofold. I look forward to the slashing and the burning and the beautiful damage to be done. With enough cruelty and sadism, I suppose I could trim my novel by another 50 pages, maybe even 60, 75. Let's tear and rend those darlings into oblivion. Murder your darlings. Thank you. So there's some editing advice for you. Now, in a room full of writers, what could be scarier than a rejection letter? So this is my novel Hate Story, and I'm going to subvert your expectations by not reading from the novel. I'm going to read from the bonus extra material at the end. This is called Simpatica Books, Inc. Dear Mr. Orwell, thank you very much for your interest in Simpatica Books, Inc. We have reviewed your submitted manuscript, The Animal Farm, and we have decided, regrettably, that it is not the right fit for our lineup. Although your novella is well written and has a few interesting ideas, we feel that it also has some serious issues and needs a lot of work. Our main problem with your manuscript is the characters, specifically that none of them is very likable. There isn't a single one a reader can root for. We feel strongly that main characters in fiction must always be likable and never have any flaws or do anything the reader might disagree with. Most of the pigs in Animals Farm are so nasty and power-obsessed, and they do many cruel things to the other animals. They kill them, they lie to them and manipulate them, they betray them. How is a person supposed to relate to that kind of behavior? Nobody's like that in real life. And even the animals who are victims of the abuse, you don't feel much for them either, Mr. Orwell's. They don't fight back or try to win the day. They just take all the oppression passively. That's so depressing. A reader needs to cheer somebody on to be a hero, but your book doesn't deliver that. Our other big issue with your manuscript is the story itself, that is just so unbelievable and unrealistic. A group of farm animals drive the owner away and take over the farm. Don't you find that a little far-fetched, Mr. Wells? A little hard to imagine? Animals can be a little rambunctious now and then, but they could never take over a whole farm like that. And even if they did, it's hard to believe they would run the farm so poorly. There's so much corruption among the pigs that the whole thing turns into a virtual dictatorship. I don't think that could happen even with human beings, let alone with animals. You're not giving the reader much credit. Our team at Simpatica Books, Inc. is confused about your goals for animal farms. It's too violent and intense for a children's book, and it's too dark and pessimistic for a fantasy. We can't imagine what kind of demographic you're aiming for, or why anyone would want to spend their free time with these characters. But I have some good news. Our focus group of beta readers has come up with some constructive suggestions that may help you improve your book. First, instead of all those mean pigs, why not have one really nice pig? And give the nice pig a friend or two. I think it's sad that you never gave the animals any good friendships, but I bet the reader would love to see one. Maybe the nice pig has a cute little spider friend who weaves nice messages about the pig in her web, and that sends the pig on some fun adventures. Don't you think that would make a good kid's book? I think so. And maybe the nice pig learns how to herd sheep, and he goes on to win a sheep herding competition. That would send an uplifting message about believing in yourself. Another issue, our beta readers don't like the catchphrase you gave to Boxer the horse. I will work harder. Nobody's ever going to quote that. We came up with a better catchphrase. A horse is a horse, of course, of course. See? Now that's catchy and fun. That's what a reader wants. The point I'm trying to make, after the years pass and we're all rotting in the ground, the generations after us will remember only one thing about our literature. It's marketability. Please keep working hard at your writing, and maybe someday you'll get a lot better at it and write something worth publishing, Mr. Orson. Something with a fun plot and a likable hero, like that nice Nancy Drew. Now she's a plucky little one. Why don't you give us a character like that? That would be swell. Sincerely, Simpatica Books, Inc. Books for people who don't want a challenge. Simpatica Books, Inc. That's the end from the end of my book, Hate Story. And if I have time for one more thingy, this is another one I did for a workshop, but it's on theme, which is why I brought it. On a Halloween theme. The Ghost and the Intruder. The young Danish prince followed the mysterious, ghostly figure away from the watch platform of the castle. The prince's two companions stayed behind, shivering in the cold midnight air, fearing for his safety and sanity. "Where wilt thou lead me?" the prince cried. "Speak, I'll go no further." "Mark me," commanded the ghost, its soldierly uniform hiding its face. The prince listened as the spectre ordered him to embark on a mission of violent revenge. "I am thy father's spirit," it explained, to the prince's shock. "If thou didst ever thy dear father love, revenge his foul and most unnatural murder." "Murder?" gasped the prince. "Murder most foul, as in the best it is," said the spirit. "But this most foul, sir—" The ghost trailed off, as it and the prince heard a strange sound far off. Then the sound came closer, and the prince rubbed his forehead. "For the sake of our Lord," he thought, "not anon." Suddenly there approached a large, round, yellow figure with two black, beady eyes, a flapping mouth, and no torso or appendages. The flying round figure bolted straight for the ghost, which stared at it in bafflement. "Aha!" shouted the round figure to the ghost. "I just ate a power pellet, so you can't get me now. Just try." "Zounds!" exclaimed the ghost. "What is this mad blinking daw?" "Don't get cocky, ghost," the figure said, "'cause I'm gonna eat you up. Nom 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 nom." And the round figure started snapping its jaws at the ghost. But nothing happened. Its jaws just snapped right through the ghost's body as if it weren't even there. "Stand ho this infernal tush, thou dolt," the ghost snapped. "But what the hell?" said the round figure. "You're supposed to disappear and turn into the number 200. And you're also supposed to be delicious." It snapped its jaws shut. It snapped its jaws at the ghost. Nom 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 nom. "Come on, why are you still here?" "Begone!" shrieked the ghost. "Wend hence from hither, or I shall smack thy arse." "He hast nae arse, good father," said the prince. He is a head, no more, no less." Suddenly, the round, biting figure changed to a different shade of yellow. "Ah, crap," he said. "The power pellet's wearing off. I better get out of here." And the figure dashed off in the direction from which it had come. "Forsooth," snapped the ghost, "what was yon creature?" "'Twast a fool, mine own father," said the prince, shaking his head in embarrassment. "A flying, gluttonous fool, one that hath lost its way through the temporal passages." "Ah," the spirit paused, then recommenced. "As I was saying, my son, it's given out that, sleeping in mine orchard." Meanwhile, the flying round yellow figure searched and searched, but found nothing familiar in these medieval Danish surroundings. He needed some dots to eat, but there were none to be found in this strange kingdom. Perhaps he only had a few left to clear this screen, and then it would change to a new setting full of dots. But it was going to be murder to find these things. The hunger was getting to him now. That normally wasn't a problem, since there was usually plenty around for him to eat. Also because his body structure was very simple and required limited nutrients. He had no limbs or torso to energize or replenish. Dots had the sufficient amount of vitamins and minerals to support him, and power pellets gave him the superpowers he needed to overpower ghosts. Ghosts had no nutritional value for him, of course, as they were nothing but air. But they sure tasted delicious. At this point, he was so hungry, he'd even go for some shawarma. Hours passed, then days. Nothing. Tired and ready to give up, he decided to return to the castle in Elsinore. Life seemed meaningless. Maybe it would be better if he just surrendered himself to a ghost and put himself out of his boredom. This was his last life, and he felt that he'd had a full one. It was time to let it go. As he approached the castle again, late at night, he thought he saw a glow on the ground, just outside the moat. Could it be? He came closer. It was! Another power pellet, just lying there on the ground, untouched. He hoped it wasn't the last edible item in this screen, which would mean he'd get a new setting before he'd get a chance to get a good ghost meal. He flew closer to the pellet. At that moment, the prince was confronting his mother, the queen, in her bedchamber about some awkward family issues. "A murderer and a villain," the prince said, describing his uncle and stepfather. "A slave that is not 20th part the tithe of your president lord, a vice of kings," he went on, next embarking on a poetic metaphor about a thief stealing a diadem from a shelf. "No more," cried the queen. "A king of shreds and patches." The prince stopped, seeing a familiar figure at the doorway. It was the ghost of his father again. "Save me and hover o'er me with your wings," the prince called out to the spirit, then asked what the ghost wanted as his mother stared in bafflement. The ghost made a gesture to answer, but was interrupted by the sudden entrance of the round yellow figure again. "Aha!" said the figure. "You're not getting away from me this time, ghosty! Nom 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 nom!" But again, no matter how quickly and viciously the figure snapped his jaws at the ghost, nothing happened. His enormous mouth just went straight through the spirit. "Foul and fool and ass!" the ghost bellowed at the figure. "Begone, thou whoreson Zed!" I just don't get it," the figure said to itself. It would have scratched his head if it had arms or hands. "Why isn't it working? Are these power pellets defective?" "Alas, they're mad!" the queen exclaimed. "And what is this foul yellow creature? What has a head and no more?" The round biting figure changed to a different shade of yellow once again. "I better get out of here," he said to himself. "The power's wearing off again." "Not so fast, stray demon," shouted an old shaky voice. It was the voice of a foolish prating knave. "Neither an escaper nor an eater be, villain." The yellow figure looked up and saw another ghost, one freshly killed by the prince in that very bedchamber only minutes before. Am I being cut off?
No.
Oh. I got this much. Is that okay? "Polonius!" cried the prince. "Son," said the queen, "this is the very coinage of your brain. What madness!" "Though this be madness, yet there is method in it," said the new ghost. "Take this, you egg! Nom 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 nom!" And the ghost snapped its jaws at the round yellow figure. "Ah!" screamed the figure, who opened his mouth so far that he rapped backwards around himself. The figure melted into thin air with a weird electronic swirling noise, followed by two bouncy womp-womp sounds. The ghosts both disappeared as the prince and his mother stared at where the figure had just been. Nobody spoke for a long time. "Well, that happened," said the prince. Then he turned to his mother. "How is't with you, lady?" "Alas, how is't with you?" she replied. "Not bad." The prince paused. "Let us return to the great hall of the palace. The actors have another play planned for us, the lamentable comedy of Brick and his good friend Dummerton." "Oh, what fun!" said the queen, clapping her hands. The prince pointed to the corpse lying beside the heiress. "So I'll just lug these guts into the neighbor room and we'll go." "Sounds fair, my son." The ghost and the intruder. "Thank you, my name's Jeff. I have a book. Bye."
You know, I can always tell how long you read from the video. Thank you, Jeff. I thought you'd come back from your Australia trip with an accent.
Now you try harder next time.
So, Patti Cole is a Toronto-based poet, a singer-songwriter, and a cappella soloist poet. Most recently published in the Ontario Poetry Society's The Ultra Best Short Verse 2023. She's got a very long bio, so it will be in the info at the YouTube video. It's also at the event page. I've heard her, and she breaks into song, and she reads poetry, and she sings, and I can't wait. Your voice is beautiful. I love what you do. And I'm very, very happy to have Patti. She's going to be having a full feature actually third week in January. We'll be in the other room along with the two Lisas, Lisa Reynolds and Lisa Richter. So yeah, and Harper Norm will be there as well. So yeah, welcome, Patti.
Thank you very much. And everybody looks good as their alter ego. I can see you're all dressed up as your alter selves, yeah. And I have a poetry book, actually, my first one coming out in December. And so I don't have it to show you, but I do have these little cards that will give you my information, my email, and so on if you're interested in looking at that. If you come in January, we can talk more about that, okay? And thank you, Brenda, very much for inviting me here. And
15 minutes.
15. Okay, now if Meanie went too long, okay, I'm going to talk fast. So this Halloween night, this Halloween night in Derry, Ireland, they welcome the Celtic spirit of Samhain. I understand. It's a culmination of a 4-day largest Halloween festival in Europe, and on such a night, souls are said to wander the aching distance of ruthless time, often only to find themselves time's fool. She knew you in that lifetime. She knew you on that day, a parallel free season, that love song far away. And you were sure and manly, and she was sweet and fey, a doomed and hapless courting that love song far away. And Jesus was her savior, and you the other way, or angels held to your hands and shamed her, who can say? But tender was the night then, and glorious the day, and maybe love was blessed in that love song far away. And now you've come back to her. She's recognized your gaze. The pain of now jolts through her to that love song far away. For modern love cries danger, and modern love cries play, a testament to heartbreak, and that love song far away. And she knew you in that lifetime, and she knew you on that day, a parallel dark season, that love song far away. Okay, I come to this celebration as a poet of the Ferlinghetti School, the beat era, but like him, not a beat poet, rather a survivor, a seeker of the silver lining. And so I give you 3:33 p.m., September 23rd, 2020. Oh, okay. Everything seems so possible in the golden light of the day. The glint of the silver lining through the trees in their almost sway, and the yellow and pink of the diamonds, the blossoms along my way. Everything seems so possible in the golden light of the day. Everything seems so possible in the starlight shine of the night, the glint of the silver lining through the trees in their almost flight, and the welcome dark of the mysteries on the paths along my life. Everything seems so possible in the starlight shine of the night. Yet how can a thing be possible, and how can a thing be clear? The fray of the silver lining and the broken road and the tear and the cruelest dark of the mysteries and the lonely joy and the fear. Tell me, how can a thing be possible, and how can a thing be clear? If Jesus appeared in the doorway, if grace were delivered again, we gratefully hand him the burden of hurry and lonely and pain, and the darkest dark of the mysteries, and the promises broken in vain. Tell me, how can a thing be possible, and how can we alter the shame? Everything seems so possible in the golden light of the day. Everything seems so possible in the golden light of the day. Everything seems so possible in the starlight shine of the night. Everything seems so possible in the starlight shine of the night. You let me down, boy.
You ready for an A?
No, not yet. That was an A right there. Okay. Now, Tennyson says, the more we are willing to risk, the more we get to live. I've reinvented myself 4 major times in my life, because to hover at the edge of living for even one moment is unthinkable. Even when just for a moment, going back to square one is maybe the hardest part. Going back to square one is maybe the glorious part. Going back to square one feels naked and foolish and barren. Vacant lot, barren. It's cold. There's nothing past the edge of that chance. Then, just for a moment, going back to square one is maybe the glorious part. All right, Jeffrey Cole writes of life and belonging. Is our life not but an anthology, a poetical collection of each moment as it goes, as life unfolds? Where then does one belong? Okay, on thinking of a new place. Can you do it again? On thinking of a new place, or would you leave Toronto place? I belong where peace can find me, where peace has called my name, in peace where soothing comfort and moves within the frame, where burdens duly noted wait quietly aside, where love for me and others so blissfully resides. I belong in rooms of color, in rooms of warm and cool, in rooms where windows beckon, day's light and nighttime's jewel, where burdens duly noted wait quietly aside, where love for me and others so carefully resides. I'm thinking of a new place. Would you leave Toronto place? A place to know my value and my grace. I'm thinking of a new place. Would you leave Toronto place? A place to know my value and my grace. I belong in streets of wonder, in streets of dream and lure, in streets where true life reaches beyond the sane and pure, burdens duly noted, wait quietly aside, where love for me and others forgivingly resides. I belong in truths of love songs, in truths of heart's desires, in truths of magic touches and passion nights of fire. Duly noted, wait quietly aside, where love for me and others, where love for me and others. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, how many of you ran into Elvis on your way over here? I ran into him twice in 9 minutes. And he was wearing his blue suede shoes. Dear Elvis, I've finally checked out of Heartbreak Hotel. I've erased Lonely Street from my ways, and I can tell you I'm not lonesome tonight anymore. Although I do love his blue suede shoes. Oh no, would that be my script? Excuse me. Okay. Aristotle promised that in all things there is something of the marvelous. I woke up February 15, 2021, and I realized in the middle of the pandemic, of this pestilence we had, that on that day at least, there was one more turn to dance. I have had the sweetest life. I've known my misery. Yet I've had the sweetest life. I've won my victories. The mornings I can wake up and know here's one more chance and feel the grace of wonder. Here's one more turn to dance. Have you ever met your own soul, encountered in your dreams, and recognized that sweet face, the mender of your seams? Have you ever lost your soulmate, the one who captured you, and recognized the glory of the gift was handed you? Have you ever traded comfort for a path unknown and new, put one foot in front the other in your search for something new? Have you ever thanked your parents for the hells that they endured, whether for you or against you? They traveled life unsure. Have you ever found... Can I have an F, please? I'm sorry. F. F. You sure that's an F? Have you ever found your moment, then watched it slip away? That extra breath you needed has kept you in this place. Have you ever known salvation, the breath of kingdom come? The trial of one more time around will keep you headed home. Sorry, folks. Home, and I've had the sweetest life. I've known my misery, and I've had the sweetest life. I've won my victories. The mornings I can wake up, and now here's one more chance, and feel the grace of wonder. Here's one more turn to dance, and feel the grace of wonder. Here's one more turn to dance. I got to work out those notes. Thank you very much. That's very nice of you. Thank you. Thank you.
Don't forget your phone.
Oh, I better not. Thank you.
You have 3 more minutes.
Oh, I do?
Yes.
Oh, I might have another. Yes. Give me a break here. Wow. Let's see what I got. See, I was so nervous, I had to keep going. Let me see. That's fine. Okay. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll find something. Don't worry. Oh. Okay. Huh?
How about that sports team?
Oh, how about that sports team?
Sports team?
I don't think I have one called that. Okay, here's one. This might. Okay, this is a little sort of little peek at the book that's coming, and it's a book of love songs, love poems rather. Okay, this one's called "The Grip of Velvet Love." I know when I fell in love with you. I can give you the hour and day. I have taken the blessed lesson. I am woman enough to say. And the crushing grief was delivered by surprise that summer night. See, I followed the wicked longings, and I couldn't tell wrong from right. And the melodies pierced the airwaves, and the harmonies danced the schemes, and the dizzying sway of the moorings, the electric lure of the dream. I know when you lost yourself to me, I can give you the night and place. I have taken the warming lesson. I am woman enough to say. The affirming touch was delivered by surprise, so tenderly bold, a reacquaintance with heartache, one night for all to behold. And the melodies pierced the airwaves, and the harmonies danced the schemes, and the dizzying sway of the moorings, the electric lure of the dream. And you told me that you loved me, and my starving heart agreed, and she took it in as gospel what to you was make-believe. And the hurting that she carried came from habit, maybe love. And really, it makes no difference in the grip of velvet love. And really, it makes no difference in the grip of velvet love. Thank you very much. Thank you, Brenda. Oh, well, thank you, sweetie. Oh, thank you. Thank you.
That was wonderful.
That's sort of an ignominious ending, isn't it, bending over?
Oh, isn't she wonderful? She's so sweet, too. What a sweet voice.
Thank you.
Yeah, wow. Thank you so much. And you're sweet, too, Jeff. In your own way. So where is Ewan? So next up is Ewan Whyte. First time I saw Ewan was at a Guernica launch, and Karen introduced him and talked about getting into a cab with him. I don't remember the story right this minute, but it was a great story. I just thought, what a really great guy. It was an art history book, wasn't it, Ewan?
Contemporary art.
Yeah. Well, contemporary art histories. My alarm's going off. Stop it. Go. Stop. That's kind of a Jeff Cottrill thing. My alarm. Anyway, so he's a writer and translator. He has written for the Globe and Mail and the Literary Review of Canada. He's the author of Desire Lines essays on art, poetry, and culture, Shifting Paradigms essays on art and culture, Entrainment, a book of poetry, and a translation of the rude ancient Roman poet Catullus. Welcome, Ewan. That's a good introduction to you.
So I brought a Venetian mask, brought a Bernese just for fun, Perrault, but I guess 1789 they stopped their tradition with the invasion of Napoleon.
Just give me a minute. I'm just zooming in now. Oh, that's absolutely gorgeous. Oh, that is phenomenal. Will it stay on without your fingers?
Oh, it has the yes.
Okay. I can take a still. Oh, that's absolutely incredible. You know, that really suits you.
Yeah.
In some ways, it's just wear it all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I should wear it in bed.
I feel like we're in a scene from Ice White.
But that tradition was ended with the invasion of Napoleon in I think it was 1789. I have to look that up again. But so thank you very much for having me. I don't know if this is ish.
That's the one that they're.
Oh, this one here. Oh, here we go. Yeah. So, yeah, I think of Robert Lowell in one of his last poetry readings. He stood up, couldn't remember what to say, and he said, "Sometimes your brain economizes so prodigally you think you've suffered theft." I forgot my books before I came, but I have a bit memorized, so I won't be too long. I have a little bit on my phone here, but yeah, these things are what they are. They are what they are. So yeah. The I don't know. When I was in Tokyo, I'm going to try to bring this up. I haven't ever read this, but so this really remarkable Japanese photographer. There was an exhibit at the Photography Museum in Tokyo. He it sort of documented a lot. Harino was the guy's name. He documented a lot of the what would be called Northeast Asian regions, and photographs of that, photographs of the madness of crowds in the lead up to the Second World War. Lots of madness in that. And I found it really remarkable. Some of the photographs, very remarkable, but as so many do. But so I wrote this about Harino. In the Harino in the Tokyo Photography Museum. Photographs of industrial ironwork from the 1920s and 30s, long rusted to scrap. Elegant bridges destroyed in the war. Traditional dancers, actors, singers, some of whom have voice only in these photographs. At first, the iron structures seem too present for the water, ships, and people of another time. Temples in Korea, masks of light, stone statues of others' sacred past. Women in swimsuits, dresses, beaches, men in gas masks, ticker tape parades of naive crowds, and a collective response, a perspective of optimism on the edge of a future war. I think he captures that period really well. But hey, underneath, as Northern Fry has it, underneath a persona is only another persona. So I wrote a piece on St. Francis. I'm a total atheist, by the way, but everyone likes the idea of St. Francis. So a note on St. Francis, most people would know, who, as the story goes, was a rich dandy who partied it up in his youth. He was later very friendly to the poor and gave away his possessions so liberally his father disinherited him in the public square. There he took off all his clothes so he would possess absolutely nothing, was given a burlap bag to cover himself by a member of the clergy, and walked barefooted out of the town singing a French song. So Fioretti, the famous book that he wrote, Fioretti of St. Francis. Returning home after an extravagant party, stopping for shelter in a half-fallen country chapel, looking out over the fields through the holes in the walls, he took off his rich clothes. For a week he spoke with Sister Moon and Brother Sun, hearing their songs in inflected light. After the last night, at the first moments of dawn, when the sun sends its sheets of fire over the living surface of the earth, he woke with joy and shuddered to the opening of the fields of flowers. So, I wonder what I should read first. I should have typed this. I'm timing myself. Okay, just two more. So, Garo Rikier generally, you know what? I'll read that one after. All right, I'll read that one first. Generally considered the last troubadour. It's kind of a sad situation. Garo Rikier, the last troubadour. How bleak it must have been, the long, dangerous journeys between towns and courts, which gradually lost interest in your elegant, old-fashioned art. Influenced from the East, but transformed by our medieval Western obsession with individual experience. For us now, your world is utterly gone, disappeared with the figures and colors and the illuminations of your time. Your mastery was widely imitated, before it slowly went unnoticed in your lifetime. Your main audience should have been the Gnostic Cathars and Albigensians, whose beliefs stretched across Occitania, which became southern France, into Spain, through northern Italy, into Bosnia and the Balkans. They supported the early troubadours and shared some of their values. You were 14 when their great stronghold of Montségur fell in the final brutal crusade against them. You would have heard living accounts of how over 200 Cathar perfects were burnt alive in an enormous fire near the Prat de Cremat at the foot of the castle. Of that war, Arnaud, the Cistercian abbot, who is a commander in the crusade, wrote to Pope Innocent III, "Today, Your Holiness, 20,000 heretics were put to the sword, regardless of age, rank, or sex." The older surviving Cathar sympathizers were a large part of your audience. They still admired the troubadours, but they slowly died off, and you lost your patrons. For a while you worked as a poet for Almaric IV, Viscount of Narbonne, but you were not fully recognized. At 40 you crossed the Pyrenees and worked as a poet for Alfonso X for 10 years. After you recrossed the Pyrenees and wrote for Henry II, Count of Rodez, who gave troubadours protection. But times had changed. Court entertainers could sing the poems and songs of the troubadours and do juggling tricks as well. Original troubadour poems became superfluous, and you found no new patrons. In the regional economic decline, you moved back to the town of your birth and found employment writing religious poetry. You could no longer write of latent mysticism in the Gnostic language of God as all forms of love. The world had changed. The Catholic Church had won, and dissent was no longer an option. Jongleurs and minstrels called themselves troubadours, and the troubadours were no more. In your last known poem you wrote, "I remember my difficult past. I look at the merciless present. And when I think of the future, I have true reason to weep. I will have to stop singing, for truly I came too late." So just
7 minutes.
I'll just read one more, and that'll be it.
Going.
Well, we've all had a friend die on us, so I had a really funny friend, actually. Well, we all do. But, yeah. Traveling on a night bus between cities, the overhead lights turned out. A stillness of strangers resting side by side in their seats. Long after midnight in the outer darkness, along the sides of the highway, the mangled treetops of autumn pass in a grotesque parade of shapes against the half-moon haze of the sky. While watching a procession of collapsing monsters our ancestors would have called gods, I receive the confirming phone call that you have died. Most are asleep on this bus. From the back, I can hear the sleep-fighting voices of talking children through the silencing of their mothers. In front, a lit-up electronic device is reflecting off a window, double-imaging the trees and the ceiling. I think of you and your outrageous life, an odd mixture of high and lowbrow, your piano playing of Beethoven and Brahms, your respectful mimicking of Dinu Lipati's recording of Bach's Joy of Man's Desiring during his remission from cancer, your interpretation of Bach as a subtle question and answering, and how you would obsess on the disembodied bliss of static time in art, your spirit held back from the self-conscious rush to death we all face, where for brief moments there is no time at all. Against this, there were the hardened strippers you would date, bringing them into the church to drink wine and play the organ after the Montreal bars closed. Your comment that this urge against the sacrosanct is in all of us to smash past an image, to get to what is behind it, to find only another persona. You said you had grown tired of this. Your week-long bushwalks of 200 miles, your explanation of Coville's painting Dog and Bridge, the frozen instant of the dog crossing a bridge where brooding imminence is created by the carefully constructed geometrical design, drawing our line of sight to the German shepherd, center right, intensifying our sense of impending violence. You would speak of the storm of sorrow that would come back on you, its ordained demons of darkness that are present at every second, hovering near you, an aching loneliness that could only be taken away by impersonal art. Passing near the town, an opposing traffic charges toward the bus in a sudden heart-pounding rush of blood. I blocked the headlights, covering one eye, losing myself in the central yellow line of the road. After a time, I look up, waking into the changed landscape, to the sound of Mozart's Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, in the voices of small children from the back of the bus, through their mother's gentle words about sleep. Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry, Brenda.
Something funny, maybe a little more uplifting.
That was an incredible
I wrote a lot on homeless people in the city. I grew up on the wrong side of the tracks. At any rate, there was one guy, Basis Strong Avenue, near where the train tracks are. Bagged Jesus on a dirt mound. On a 30-meter dirt mound of construction earth, he stands, overlooking a highway and passing sports crowds below. Singing incoherent word shouts. He is rolled in see-through garbage bags. The wrappings of plastic flutter off him, a clothing of the appendages of flight. His human height, stray lumber cross is planted in the ground before him. He is a carrier of flight, an ecstatic birdman of sacrifice. And all day he is Jesus, offering his 2-liter blood cola wine to the regathering gulls, heaving shouts of love and lifting his arms to the slow, cloud-pocked blue, offering gestures of clemency under its vault of pain. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, Ewan. That was phenomenal. Ewan and Wes are featuring next summer, full features. So come back at the end of July if you want to hear more. Okay. A mask. A camera that dances her. She appears to disappear, sways, the music in the mirror. I don't exist as a discrete entity, am without a mirror image. First, energy and waves. The body. No. The place. Neither. Broken and mended, torn and unified, cast aside rudely and brought back beautified. Interruption. Embrace it. Stuttered steps, stop motion, renewal rising to the surface of being. New rhythms, newly old. Throw them away, sway. The spine curves, a nervous system of stars. She dances renewal. An emotional stream until rupture, break, place of tripping, of stuttering. Stop, without stopping. The mask hides. A mask of fronds moves, glimmering. An existential being on the edge of time in an isolated place of aloneness. She converges with the world. She glints, sparkles on the wool carpet. A hidden one of the hidden ones. She wears white diaphanous and black leather of warm, nurturing, spiritual, inspirational, and biker's fetish, sexuality, animal, strength, warrior. A glamour. Healer, healing in a rupturing world. Take the energy. Take it. Crystal's prism in wholeness, radiant schisms, rainbow serpents. I don't feel safe when I dance. Flee safety when dancing. Stay raw, vulnerable, on an edge of insanity, where the disintegrating particles dance dust. I slither underground, winding tunnels of Hamas, dark, damp, like a termite nest, fortified stench, munitions, mutinies. She shedding light, understanding, the right for Jewish people to exist, for peaceful Palestinians to exist, homelands, for acceptance for all by the radicalized, a natural end to the war. Such innocence of those afar who want to help. Hands in prayer pose, a snake snaking, chthonic depths, hands as lyric, fluid sacred energy, hands that kill, that heal, where sensitivity reigns, where the child trusts. Dip into the shadow of the place. Cast it over from dark to light, light to dark. Irradiate. Prayerful hands glide. She follows her hands. I flow behind with the flowing. She guides her hands as they guide my fingertips. They dance, move as one. Joy, pain, deliverance, playfulness, seriousness, grief. My little dancing flame burns through a life. Chaos and peace, beauty, the beauty. Coming together, conjoined in the dance, the hands drawn, one composed of two. In anonymity, only the edges barely touch, flickers of light, of compassion, its radiance. Then sitting, arms raised, moon round, simple, honoring. Humility of an old woman's love. Dazzle the dark. a poetry dance video of creative movement in an act of composing, an exploratory dance, discovering the inner poetry that day. So I was writing the poem in that dance, and I wrote it down after. And the music is Russian composer Sofia Gubedulina. Yeah. Yeah, so that's a draft, because all the places where I fix my headgear or I do this, I need to put something in there. It's just, I thought I could edit all that out, but I can't, because then the music would be cut. So I tried doing those sections that are really awkward for me to look at. In stop motion, I tried doing ghosting effect and double, and nothing worked, but I think I have an idea. So this is a draft. But the poem's pretty much written. So I'm happy to talk a little bit about it if we have a bit of time here. We don't.
It's very effective, Brenda.
Thank you.
Very effective.
Yeah.
Sorry, you wrote the poem after you...
No. I was writing, like, I do creative movement dance. My knees really hurt that morning and I was grumpy, so I didn't really move a lot. But no, I start dancing, and whenever I dance, there's always something that emerges that I start creating a poem. A dance is a poem. And then sit down and write it, like sit down.
Sit down after. Right?
Yeah, then that's composing it. That's not writing the poem and then dancing to it, which, like, it's really hard to read the poem. So I was actually had it on, playing it on my phone with the poem playing there, because there's no enactment. There's no, oh, now we're doing tunnels. Oh, now we're, because it didn't happen like that. Like, it's all very continuous. But I think it's okay not to redance it to the poem. It's okay to leave it as the act of composing.
It is, yeah.
Because it is the act of composing. It's just hard for me to look at as, see it all like, can I just remove where I fix my headgear, or, where I'm changing position, sitting on the floor and moving, and I'm like, ah! But so I have to think I think I might take some of the flicker side and make it in the other side, just for those transition points that,
The flicker side was really powerful.
yeah, it was cool, huh? Yeah, it was accidental.
No, but I don't know, for me, it suited the words.
Oh, yeah, no, I think it's fantastic. I actually bought an effect that's supposed to do that, like cut out the figure automatically, and that's what it did. So I emailed them right away and sent them a little clip, and he said, no, that's terrible. We're working on the flickering. But I had actually saved it out. So then they took it away, so I don't have it anymore. But I had actually saved it out in the few hours that I owned it. And then I thought, well, that's got possibilities if I put the original clip with it. Do you know? So anyway, yeah, the way things get built and created, and same with this costume. Starts with an idea 6 months, 8 months ago, and then, and there I am, like last week or whenever, hunting through the garment district down, on Queen and Spadina, trying to find what I saw. I thought it was beads, but beads would have been too heavy. So, yeah, and then make it and sew it, and, you get this vision, and then you have to go out and, find something that will, anyway. It's John's turn now. So John Oughton grew up in Guelph, a block away from the birthplace of Flanders and Fields, by John McCrae. And he's lived in Iraq, Egypt, and Japan. He's now in the beaches. He's done literature at York and Jack Kerouac School, and published close to 500 articles. I think he's got about 8 poetry books out, or 9. 6. And he just most recent is The Universe and All That. He may have copies with him. He's written a novel, Death by Triangulation, and he's been playing with guitar for quite a number of years now. And we have a performance poet videos that we did with Luciano and you and me at Urban Gallery in 2013. And you were just starting to want to play for other people at that point. So welcome, John.
Okay, I promised Brenda I wasn't going to read my own poetry, I would just do music. And I'm not going to read my own poetry, but I can't resist reading you a couple of verses from an immortal poem composed for this time of year by the great poet Bobby Boris Pickett. And I'm just going to recite it, and then I'll actually play some music. I was working in the lab late one night when my eyes beheld an eerie sight, for my monster from his slab began to rise, and suddenly, to my surprise, he did the mash. He did the monster mash, the monster mash. It was a graveyard smash. He did the mash. It caught on in a flash. He did the mash. He did the monster mash. From my laboratory in the castle east to the master bedroom where the vampires feast, the ghouls all came from their humble abodes to get a jolt from my electrodes. They did the mash. They did the monster mash, the monster mash. It was a graveyard flash. They did the mash. It caught on in a flash. They did the mash. They did the monster mash. The zombies were having fun. The party had just begun. The guests included Wolfman, Dracula, and his son. The scene was rockin', all were digging the sounds. Igor on chains, backed by his baying hounds. The coffin bangers were about to arrive with their vocal group, the Crypt Kicker 5. And I'll leave it with that. So the first piece I'm going to play actually comes with a story, and this is partly how Brenda and I met and became friends, as she was looking for someone to play live music for a kind of spoken word dance performance piece. So I said, okay, it was called Ink Ocean. And so this piece has been ever evolving since then. It uses delay and sustain and things like that on the guitar.
I think you can get up to dance if you feel like it, because we're at 20 to 8. We only have 20 minutes.
Okay.
So,
I don't know how danceable this is, but you're welcome to try it.
well, I've already danced.
Hard to do this with a mask on.
Okay. You may take the mask off.
Oh, thank
Really
you, Brenda.
effective. You look really quite cool.
And replace my hearing aid. This is getting complicated. Okay, here we go. that was that. Now we're going to play a little game. How many of you know what a looper is in musical terms? I'm sure you do. A looper.
No.
A looper is a little box that you can play like a chord progression or a solo in it, and then it'll keep repeating it as many times as you want, so you can layer and add things to it. So this little game is called What's on the Looper. I've been storing a lot of strings, little chord progressions, and I think one of these is just a bass line. And I'm going to play those through a few times each and add something on top, and then we'll be done. So, have to remember what key you're in. The first one, and now
How many are you gonna do?
just 5 like that. They're all short.
No, no, no.
That was no judgment.
You can leave now if you want.
I'm just going, no, I'm very curious. getting it worked out.
Yeah, it's
But trying to find the lost key.
That was quite beautiful. You can take any one of those pieces and sustain them. Like sustain
Well, that's a
them.
fun thing about the looper is you can keep it going until you actually find something that works with it.
Well, it's nice.
Did you only have two going at one time? Did you have one loop going and then you were playing to it?
Yes,
So only one at a time?
at a time,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
But this can store like 100 different loops. I'm not gonna subject you to all of them.
the only one's fine.
I thought maybe you wanted-
So I think that's my part. Are we good for time?
Maybe 5 more minutes.
5 more minutes? Okay.
Well, you do have 5 more minutes, but then it'll be 5 to 8, which is a good time to end.
All right, well, I'll just end with one more.
Yeah, 5 minutes. Well, so much for the dancing afterwards. Where was everybody?
There we go. Thank you
So
very
were
much.
you improvising that? Were you improvising?
Thank you all for coming out on Halloween when everybody's at home handing out kitty treats or hiding from them. I really appreciate it. Thank you, everybody who came out and featured. Jeff, love you, Jeff. Patti, it's beautiful. Ewan, wow. And John, that was simply wonderful, especially 6 hours before the Minstrels and Bards started. My booked musician canceled because we weren't able to come in early and set up, and he needed to be able to do that. So thank you for stepping up to the plate, John. That's absolutely terrific. thank you so much to you all and those who came out. And the next one is the third week of January in the other room. So, mwah, mwah. Yes, go forth with the spirits.